life insurance, car insurance, renter's insurance. You've probably heard about these types of products, but have you heard of legal insurance? Hi, I'm Small Business Stacey.
I'm Digital Dave.
Where marketing
meets technology.
That's what we're talking about today. Hey everybody, Stacey Riska here, and I have a very special guest, Stanley Barnes from Legal Shield out of Lexington, Kentucky. And you are definitely going to want to get a pen and paper because we are talking about how you can protect your business and your personal life with legal insurance. Welcome to the show, Stanley.
Thanks, Stacey. How's everything going today?
It's great. The sun is out. I can't complain. And I'm talking to you. So now I've got a smile from ear to ear.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you probably didn't grow up saying, I want to be an attorney and sell legal insurance, right? So there's got to be some backstory. How'd you get to where you are today?
Well, Stacey, I started in the insurance business with a company that's pretty well known at one time called Mutual of New York. And part of the reason, when I was with them early on, did a lot of what I call kitchen table financial planning with young couples. And one of the things that they desperately needed was a will. Most of them didn't have it. It didn't matter whether they were whatever stripe of society they came from. 80% of these people had no wills or they were very old. So I was trying to figure out a way to help them, and I got introduced to Legal Shield. And Legal Shield, their personal plans provide a comprehensive will at no charge with their membership. So it was a really nice fit, and that's how I started to get involved with them. And I really liked the product, and I use it. I started, of course, using it myself. I bought it for myself, and there's not a year that goes by that I don't use it a couple of 2 or 3 times. And it's been very, very helpful for me. The thing about it is that a lot of times you're put in a position where you don't have any options. You know, what are you going to do about a situation? And in many cases, Legal Shield is the answer. And it served me very well. And so I guess probably, maybe less than 10 years ago, they came out with 2 things, group oriented products as well as products for small business owners. And that's what I'd like to talk to you primarily about today is the products for small business owners. I'm a small business owner myself. I have the plan, and and I'll tell you a little bit later on about how I've used it just this month.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
They have 3 plans, and they're based on number of employees. They have a plan for 10 or fewer employees, a plan for 50 or fewer employees, and a plan for 100 or fewer employees. So they do cover a pretty broad spectrum for small businesses. And let me just, if you don't mind, do a couple of bullet points on what these plans actually provide. I guess in a nutshell, what they do is they take care of any business issues, legal business issues that you have that fall below what I call the $500 an hour threshold, which is what many business attorneys would charge for an hour's worth of service. And, for smaller businesses, that's a big decision to write a check for $500, where they can maybe get something fixed, maybe not, they don't know. So these plans, do very well for them. They're a flat monthly fee, and the fee is $39 for the smallest plan, $89 for the middle plan, and $149 for the largest capacity plan. You can purchase plans that are above your employee number, but you can't go in the opposite direction. So in other words, if one of these plans offers an option that you're going to use more of, and you're a 10 or less business employee type business, you can go with one of the larger plans, and that's fine. So here's the basic areas that they cover. So all 3 plans cover these areas. First of all, designated users. So you may have a a co-owner or an office manager or something that you want to have access to the plan as well. So the Small Biz 10 plan, you can have up to 2 users, the Biz 50 plan up to 3, and the Small Biz 100 plan, you can go up to 5 designated users. So it gives you a little bit of, you can spread out the management area there a little bit for your employees. Legal consultation, all of them, you have unlimited matters and unlimited minutes. So for situations such as hiring, firing, small claims, equipment leases, incorporation, bankruptcy, joint ventures, landlord-tenant disputes, bad check recovery, which is a common one, and customer complaints, problems with your vendors, creditor harassment, identity theft, and a few others. Those you just pick up the phone and you talk to your attorney. And it doesn't matter how many times you call them about these matters, you're always there. They're always there for you. And then there are also designated consultations. And these areas they're typically out-of-state legal matters in rather specific areas. So you have 3 consultations per year, 30 minutes each. And your chances are you may never even use this, but it's there. And there are things for like commodities, securities, patents, copyrights, trademarks, antitrust, issues arising outside of the state, but within the United States. And there are a few others. So, they do cover some sort of more specific areas that you may or may not run into. As far as legal correspondence is concerned, the smallest plan, you have 20 calls or letters per year, up to 6 in any one month, and 1 follow-up letter per matter. And then the middle plan, the 50 plan, is 30, and the 100 plan, you have 40. Typically, in the cases I've experienced, usually 1 letter takes care of it, but you may need more. Then for collection letters, which, the bad check or the bad debt situation, which is pretty common, the smallest plan, you have 5 a month, and the 50 plan, you have 10 a month, and the Small Biz 100 plan, you have 15 of these letters per month. So that's pretty nice. They have document review, 20 documents per year, 15-page limit per document for the 10 plan, 30 for the Biz 50 plan, and 40 for the Small Biz 100. And finally, for trial defense, if you're sued, the Small Biz 10 plan doesn't have any coverage there, but the other 2 plans are 75 total hours for the Biz 50 and 75 total hours for the Biz 100. And they have up to 15 and 25 hours of pre-trial time paid for, which, that's where you typically spend most of your time, is in the preparation. So those gives you a little overview of the plans. And like I said, they tend to help the business owner in situations where, they're hesitant to spend perhaps $300, $400, $500 an hour, but still, this is a problem they'd like to get solved. So,
Stanley, you are so right on. I have someone in my mastermind group, and she brought an issue to the group where she was sort of asking, should I retain an attorney? Because, as a business owner is growing, the day they start their business, they're not thinking, first of all, that they would ever have any legal issues, but 2, what they could be. And you just alluded to so many of them, from hiring, from firing, from working out contracts, to bad checks, to vendor, so many legal issues that can come up over the course of your business. And I think too many business owners shy away from protecting themselves because they think, oh my God, if I pick up the phone and call an attorney, it's going to cost me $500 just to chat with them, much less the work that needs to be done. So they're not getting the protection that they need. So as I understand it, with Legal Shield, they get all of this protection bundled, and anytime they have a question, a concern, they just want to run something by an attorney, or if from something as simple as writing a letter that you may need, or reviewing a contract, or in a worst case situation, going to court, you get all of this under one umbrella. Is that correct?
Yes, it is, and it's very comprehensive, you know, it's funny because what we run into is people, they have the plan, and once they use it once, they're never going to let go of it, because you know, they, before they use it, they're not sure, you know, it sounds great, I don't know if this is going to work, you know, I mean, but once they try it, they won't let go, because it really does work. I've had my plan since '98, and like I mentioned, I use it, maybe I'm in trouble more often than most people, I don't know, but I use it all the time.
Well, no, that's great. And in full disclosure, I've used Legal Shield as well. So, Stanley, you mentioned that you just used it last week. Let's hear your story, and then I'll share how I benefited from Legal Shield as well.
Well, sure. I purchased a vehicle for my business, and it was the dealership was out of state. Now, this was a Jaguar, Land Rover, Porsche, Volvo, Lexus dealership. I mean, that's part of their name. So it wasn't Bob's buy here, pay here car lot. Okay. So I expected everything to be above board, and it was pretty much through most of the process. So they were about 250 miles away from my home. And, you know, the vehicle arrived, and it was supposed to have all the signed paperwork in it. Now, prior to this, they had FedExed the paperwork to me, signed it, FedExed it back to them. And then it was supposed to be, like I mentioned, in the vehicle. So it arrives, it's not there. So I immediately called them. And over the next about 7 to 10 days, there were several phone calls, emails, so forth and so on, no response. So I was really not a happy guy. So I picked up the phone and I called the Kentucky Legal Shield firm, and got a call back, of course, within a few hours, and talked to the attorney. And he says, well, you know, we're going to have to refer you out of state. So within 24 hours, I was talking to an attorney in the state where the dealership was, and they sent out a letter, and I received my paperwork via email pretty quickly after that. So it was just one letter, and it got the job done. And, you know, the whole thing here was, you know, I just felt that they had an obligation to send me whatever I signed. And I felt that they had, you know, they had my money, I paid for the vehicle. And so now it was like, forget this guy, moving on. And Legal Shield stepped in, and they got what I needed. And I was very happy, and very happy I had the service.
Wow, that's a great testament. And just think of the time that it saved you. And if you, for some reason, did happen to be on the wrong track, then at least the attorney could tell you that, right?
Oh, yeah,
But
absolutely.
they helped you get a positive resolution.
Right. And it's funny because I've dealt with them in the past where, you know, they have a strategy for dealing with a lot of situations that you, not being in the legal profession, would never think about. And, you know, that perspective of theirs has been very helpful in the past too.
That's a good point, right? Because you may think that
Exactly.
you have the rights to do something or not do something, but you know, it probably is best to run it by an attorney who can give you sound advice, whether that's true or not. Let me share
Exactly.
my story.
Okay.
So I'm dating myself here, but back in the 90s, my first business was DataMax Solutions. And this was when the internet was a very new thing. Google was not what it was back then. It was very hard to find organizations online. And we used to get phone calls all the time asking, you know, people lambasting us for false invoicing them for toner for their printer. Well, we didn't sell toner. We had nothing to do with printers. And we kept getting these calls, and we thought that was so strange. And then one day, a sheriff shows up at our door, and hands me, "I've been served."
Hmm.
Out of state, I'm in Washington, D.C., that I was being sued in Chicago for hundreds of thousands of dollars for making these false claims of selling toner to people who didn't order it. The company name on the lawsuit said Datamax Solutions. So what did I do? After I freaked out, I picked up the phone and called Legal Shield. So long story short, they totally represented me. I did not have to travel out to Chicago. They're like, "We have it under control. We'll go to court for you. This is not you. We're going to get it taken care of." Here's the thing. What I learned through this process is that anybody can sue anybody for any reason, whether it's legit or not. What happened was that this supposed Datamax Solutions was running under the radar. And so when people went online, because they were so angry about getting this $1,000 invoice for toner that they didn't order, was they found us. They found us as Datamax Solutions and insinuated it was us. So interestingly enough, the paralegal at the law firm made a mistake and incorrectly served us with this lawsuit. And although it was done incorrectly, we still had to go and defend ourselves. Now, if you're running a business and you are sued across the country just because somebody misused your name, think of what it's going to cost you in time and money and the legal costs to do that. So that I am a true testament, because that literally saved me time and money.
Well, and you know, we hear these stories all the time, and it's just. I had another guy who's, let's just say, he's in the entertainment business, and he, for his business, he had a little newsletter that used caricatures and iconic type stuff or emoji type little things all through his newsletter. He was getting fishing expeditions played on him almost every month for copyright infringements, and they were all just below the, they were all 500. They wanted $500 or $1,000 or something like that. Not a lot of money. Something he's more likely to write a check for than go to the attorney for. And so once he signed on with Legal Shield, all that went away. After a few contestments through Legal Shield. So just things happen, and this product is there for the everyday crazy stuff that happens in a business.
So what is the process? Do they have to submit anything proving that their business is a certain size? Like, if somebody's interested in this, what are their starting point?
Well, it starts with a paper application, or we can do an application online. And as far as the size of your business, it's a little bit of an honor system. But on the back end of that is that if you if you call them and your problem is obviously for a business that's much larger than the plan you had, you may have a problem with a legal firm. But generally it's not 100% right at the numbers, but it's a simple process. You apply, you tell us how many employees you have, fill out the paperwork. It's a one-page application essentially, and you're good to go. And they can set up a whatever sort of payment plan you want to do as far as the monthly end of it. They'll draft you, and I believe they'll paper bill you as well.
Okay. Well, talking about small business owners, what kind of, if they're looking at their back office, so to speak, what do you find are the biggest challenges or legal situations that they do run into?
Businesses in general? Employee situations are big, because anytime you have employees, people working for you, all kinds of crazy things can happen. You just don't know. So that's a big item. In general, I get a lot of companies are interested in this for the collecting on debt. That's pretty popular, but it really kind of just boils down to the business itself. I think that there's a real strong feeling of peace of mind for these business owners when they get involved with one of these products. They know that whatever comes up, pretty much, at least they can call somebody and get some advice or pointing in another direction if the person they're speaking with or the firm can't really help them out a lot. They can certainly be given some guidance as to how to proceed. And it's a whole lot better to know the direction to travel before you start the trip than just kind of just jumping out there and hoping for the best. And that's where a lot of business owners find themselves when they've got a situation, legal situation that they've never dealt with.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now, Stanley, earlier in the show, you alluded to having a will, and I am
Mm-hmm.
shocked how many people don't have a will. They don't think about this. Is this a separate product that Legal Shield offers, or talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, they have a personal legal shield product as well. And this product, it covers, it's a family type product. So if one person in the family buys it, everyone else is pretty much covered, and the spouse and the children and that sort of thing. And it's very similar in scope to the business plans. It just covers a tremendous amount of territory. And it boils down to, you have unlimited calls, and they'll write letters for you or guide you in this situation or that situation. The will was a big plus for me, as I said, in my situation, because the problem with trying to get a will for somebody was that it's time where they have to meet an attorney and so forth and so on. This they can all do either online or via email, and they also are allowed to have an existing will updated, and the will that they get from Legal Shield can be reviewed every year as well without any charge. I just found that the personal plan, things come up all the time. Let me give you an example. I was minding my own business one day and I was driving home and noticed they were putting a new sewer line in on my side of the street. So I thought, oh boy, I better take pictures of my yard. And sure enough, when they passed beyond my home, I had a brand new fire hydrant in my yard. And they didn't bother to fill in the 5-foot deep trench that was about 10 foot long that led up to the fire hydrant. Didn't bother to do any landscaping or anything, just kind of threw a little this out of the other in there. And so took pictures of it, sent them to Legal Shield, and they wrote letters to the county and the city of Richmond, and eventually we got it taken care of, as well as everyone else down the street, because I guess they projected that if they fix one problem, they're going to have to fix them all. And to be honest with you, I wasn't sure if they were going to do anything ever. And I didn't really want to wait around to find out. So they helped me out there a lot. This was a couple of years ago, but things just happen. And the more I look to Legal Shield more and more because if I have some sort of problem that crops up, I know I've got them in my back pocket. Worst case scenario, we can pick up the phone. And it really is it adds a lot of confidence to your life.
I think the words that you said, peace of mind,
Mm-hmm.
applies whether it's business or personal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's talk about marketing. What are
Yeah.
you doing to market your business? You mentioned you're a small business owner. When it comes to marketing prepaid legal, what's working and what's not?
Well, what I like to do is I'm in the insurance business as well. And primarily I address business owners because for a lot of reasons, but at any rate, anytime I'm dealing with a business owner, whether it's for any insurance product that they might be interested in, Legal Shield is always brought up. And Legal Shield is brought up for the small business plan for the business owner. It's brought up if the business owner has a few employees. It's brought up as a group prospect for he and his employees as well. And so that's the way I generally market the product. It starts off as usually an introduction to a business for a separate product, an insurance type product. And then it goes from there into the legal shield aspect of it. And it's a really, usually it's a very smooth fit and an easy segue from one to the other. Because again, the solutions that Legal Shield provides they're universal. They're for everybody. Everybody faces the same problems that this product helps out with. And coincidentally enough, everybody is just confused as to how to deal with these problems before they have Legal Shield. So it really does present a very good solution for people.
Well, great, Stanley. I mean, I find it so amazing. People don't think twice about having their car insurance card in their wallet, right? You've got to have car insurance or homeowners insurance. Whether it's for business and or personal, I really believe that everybody needs to have this legal insurance. It is so cost effective, and you do not want to be in a situation where you wake up one day and say, dang, why didn't I do that, right? Mm-hmm. It's insurance. You want to insure yourself against future potentially bad situations. So Stanley, I know that my audience is going to be clamoring to get in touch with you to learn more. How can they do that?
Well, the best way is through my email address. That's, of course, most everyone is always tuned into their email, and I'm no exception. My email address is WS as in Stanley Barnes, BARNES 88 @hotmail.com. And, once I'm contacted, we can go from there. It just depends on what's convenient for the person, whether it's a text or email or phone or whatever. But we can pretty much work out one way or another, whatever is best for them, and get them taken care of as quickly as possible.
Fantastic. Just to clarify, because you are in Kentucky, does it matter where the person is located?
Well, I was looking for an opportunity to bring up this exact question. These products are good in all 50 states and 5 provinces in Canada. So it doesn't really matter where you live. We can take care of you.
All right, guys, there you have it. Reach out to Stanley, send him an email. I'm sure he will be very gracious with his time and answer any and all of your questions about how Legal Shield can help protect you and your business. Any parting words, Stanley?
No, I just would I would enjoy anybody who I could help. I mean, this is what this really is about, is trying to, again, bring peace of mind into your life and to just, smooth out some of the rough spots.
That's good ending advice. All right, everybody, this is Small Business Stacey, your small biz marketing specialist, here to help you get your marketing into action and help you become a small biz marketing whiz. Bye-bye.
This podcast was brought to you by Small Business Stacey, the small biz marketing specialist. Want to know the 6 simple steps that will double, even triple your business in the next 30 days? Go to smallbizmarketingspecialist.com/transform and finally achieve the successful and profitable business you always knew you'd have. That's smallbizmarketingspecialist.com/transform.